Hello, hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. It is a wonderful, wonderful day. This is the day the Lord has made. I will rejoice. I personally will rejoice and be glad in it. Oh my goodness, I've got my background, guys. I have my chat room open, so now I've got to find my chat room and say, where are you? Oh my goodness. Where is it? Where is it? I have too much on my hold on, guys. Well, welcome to the show. I'm so happy that you're here today. Give me just a minute to get my chat room on mute. That yay. Well, anyways, welcome to the show. If you're just tuning in for the very first time, I'm Trichologist Lisa Akbari, and for the next 60 minutes, for the next hour, I'm going to be your hair doctor. So I'm really uber excited about today's show. I'm always excited about the show, but I'm super excited about the show because I'm just going to do some really pretty cool things. We're going to talk about things that I know that you want to talk about, need to talk about. But I talk about Miss Latham and what she's doing with her hair. She's really Sanaa Lathan. We know that she's really popular. That's our celebrity. We're just going to do one celebrity, and then we're going to talk about some other things that I think are really going to be exciting because let's face it, guys, there's just a lot to be said about our hair. And we have some things that we need to talk about it's just going to kind of clear up some of these hair myths. What's the myths? What's the facts? I want to talk about that today because I get so many emails, a mixture of emails here. And so I just want to kind of go through a little bit of the myths and the facts about hair. Also, I want to mention a group of hairstylists. They actually volunteered and they came together and they just pampered some of the hurricane victims or the evacuees, the people who we don't want to call them victims, but they had a lot going on there. I mean, it was just devastating to the country for this to happen. And so there's a couple of hairstylists, a group of them came together to just pamper these folks. I was so impressed. So we're going to talk about them a little bit, and then we talk about these tools, new tools as it relates to hair, but some people may come up with some things. Scalp scrubbing. How do you eliminate buildup? Should you scrub your scalp? Or how do you get rid of buildup? Because buildup, and what is buildup? We're going to talk. Is it good? Is it bad? I mean, some people say, oh, you need a buildup. Some people say, no, it's bad. We're going to talk about that as well. We're going to also talk about so-called new hot oil treatments. I call them so-called because I'm kind of giving it away, how I feel about hot oil treatments. But what I want to say, I want to give you, and we're talking about myths and facts, remember? So I want to let you know about hot oil treatments. Are they good? Bad? Is it necessary? What does the hot oil treatment do? What are the benefits? What are the pros? Are there any cons? What are the things? And then we want to talk about the itchy scalp problems that a lot of people have when they get their sew-ins. How are we soothing our scalp? Is it a way to soothe your scalp? What's the best way to soothe the itchy scalp when you wear the sew-ins? You guys go around beating on your scalp and putting stuff under your braid and trying to get into your scalp. Is that safe? Or what's the best way? And there's a lot of bloggers out there. They have lots of things that they're blogging about. Like one blogger was like, managing her hair. I'm going to talk about that today. And then there's a doctor that's saying that grease, is it grease good for your scalp and hair? or oil? Should you grease and oil your scalp? I guess that's the way I want to word it. And so we had a doctor to chime in on this and give her opinion. And we're going to talk about some moisturizers, moisturizing hair and having healthy natural hair, and just what people say, different ways you can hydrate, moisturize your hair, and some of the oils that are healthy for the hair and scalp. We want to talk about that as well. And then how to prevent this what so-called seasonal hair loss. This is a big deal. We're going into different seasons. How are we going to prevent that? So this is the show today. Now you can see why I'm really excited. It took me 5 minutes to tell you what I'm going to talk about. Yay! But first, guys, as usual, let me skip back to this. I'm going to take my hair down. Now, I know if you're tuning in on the radio, you won't be able to see me take my hair down, but you can always go to my YouTube page and you can subscribe, so you'll get all of these alerts for all these free videos. So you will be able to see me do my hair. So I always come in a scrunchie in the studio, and I'm here live in the WDIA studios and iHeartRadio, and I'm here talking about hair. And I'm also here, my chat room is open, so if you need to chat with me or want to chat with me, I'll be more than happy to do so if you have some questions. But we got an action-packed show. So today, right now, I am going to take down my hair. So right now I have the scrunchie. I always use this little trusty headband, or I call it my scrunchie, but I use it for scrunchies, use it for a headband. So today I'm going to pull my hair down, and I did a little more hydrating today, so that's why you definitely want to come on and my page and look at what I've done to my hair. And I basically like a frizzy fro. I mean, I'm just gonna be honest with you guys. I like how they did in the old school, when you look at all the pictures and the images of people who had the afro, and their fro was just big, and they had that pick, 1 2 1. I loved it. Well, today I'm doing something with more definition, so I define curls, and that's the beautiful thing about natural kinky hair. And that's why I love it. I mean, I'm an advocate for healthy hair. I'm not an advocate for necessarily keeping your natural hair. I think that it's a preference, and I think that all women should be able to, and even men, to determine how they want to work with their hair. But I think that it's crucially important that you are pleased with how your hair looks. And I think that it's important, this dead keratinized fiber called hair, it's important that you protect and preserve it. Have it. There are many problems that people go through with their hair, like hair loss. Sometimes the hair loss is an internal follicular issue, where it's male pattern, female pattern, drug-induced, like medication related. Yeah, but when you have hair that you can actually that grows from your scalp, in other words, it's good hair. If it's growing from your scalp, it's good hair. And that hair can be manipulated and moved around the way you want, but you have to protect and preserve it. So that's why I do this show, because I want to make sure that I give my point of view on all these things that are being said about our hair. Now I'm going to do something, because I'm going to tell you, and this is just something some people know about me. If you listen to me on the talk shows, you'll know this about me. I am horrible with pronunciation sometimes, certain names, and I know it's Sanaa Lathan. I know I'm close to pronouncing that correctly, but something feels weird about how I'm pronouncing her name. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that I'm pronouncing her name correctly as I go into the show. So let's take a look, and I'm going to do what I always do, when I want to make sure something's pronounced correctly. I'm going to go in and I'm going to look at how her name, listen to how her name is pronounced. So you guys bear with me on that, because I think she's such a beauty and a cutie, and she's just been around for a while, and she's doing some great things, and I'm excited. And she's doing some things to her hair, and she looks stunning with those things. So we want to deal with that, but I want to make sure that I'm pronouncing her name correctly. So I'm going to type in her name, and I'm going to allow the cyber world to pronounce her name. It doesn't take too much time, because sometimes my computer is really slow here at the station, or period. It's amazing. Okay, let's pronounce her name. Pronunciation. Okay, pronouncing her name. So I'm not the only one who needed to be sure I was pronouncing it correctly. So I'm going to let my how to pronounce that I'm on YouTube. Okay, let's see what it says.
Sanaa Lathan.
Sanaa Lathan.
Sanaa Lathan.
Okay, Sanaa Lathan. I like it. Thank you very much. How to pronounce. Let's get you closed out. Sanaa Lathan. Well, our girlfriend, Sanaa Lathan, has done something. She shaved her head, and she looks absolutely stunning. I mean, she's done a lot of things, but you know what? At some point, they all seem to be, you guys just got to see her. I think she's just gorgeous anyway. There was some breaking news, and it was like, breaking news, actress Sanaa Lathan just shaved her head. Yes, she shaved it. We read that correctly. I was like, what? And that was pretty cool, because this was like, okay, here I am. This is what I'm going to do. She unveils the first of many transformations, and they call it, quote unquote, nappily ever after hair transformation. It was like a dramatic new do for in, you know, some in the leading role of nappily ever just anyway. And so here we go. So let's talk about it. Now, why is it important for me to mention celebrities and what they're doing with their hair? Because you guys look at them and you say, hey, I want to do that. But let's talk about if you're going to shave your head, if you're going to do Sanaa Lathan's do, looking good girl, how do you shave your head, and how do you do it and be safe? Because you know what? Today you want to shave your head, but maybe tomorrow you don't. So if we want to do what Sanaa Lathan has done and shave our head, how can we do that safely? What's the safe way? Okay, so here's the deal. If you're going to shave your head, you have options. Do's and don'ts, and you have to be careful. Okay, so here we go. If you're going to shave your head, I want you to think about using clippers. Clippers. Don't shave your head with the razor. If you say the clippers are not close enough, then if you're going to use a razor, it needs to be an electric razor. And you need to make sure. So here's we go. This is what we do. If you shave your head with a straight razor, happen. If you shave your head and you want to Sanaa Lathan, and many others are doing, celebrities are doing this, and a lot of folks are doing it. How do you, men as well? So this is a big good time for the guys who are doing it. You need to be careful. So let's talk about straight razors. Let's talk about electric clippers. Let's talk about the little buzz clippers they use at the barbershop. What's the safest way? And then how do you care for your shaved head? Let's go to it. Okay, number one, I'm going to tell you, if you're going to, somebody's using a razor out there. Let's start with the razor. The pros and cons. The razor is that it's very close. So you're getting a very close shave. If you're trying to shave your head, you have a very close shave with the straight razor. The problem with the straight razor is the blade can touch and scrape your cornea layer, your epidermis. If it does that, it can scrape down into the bottom layer of the epidermis, which is the basal. Pain receptors can respond and your scalp can become tender. The other problem with it is that when you shave your head, you can scrape the epidermis, scrape into the dermis, and cause a problem with scar tissue, inflammation, sores, all kinds of problems. For a shaved head, fine, but do not use a straight razor. Number one, that is not my choice. That shouldn't be your choice. If you use a straight razor, it's problematic. It is something that could cause problems. Now, Sanaa Lathan look and all these other celebrities, then you've got to make sure that you do things right. What would be my choice if you want that really razor cut? Then it's to use an electric razor. Get you an electric razor. Now, what do? You shampoo your scalp, because what you want is any debris that's on your scalp. And yes, even though you have a shaved head, you can have debris collect on your scalp. Matter of fact, it collects even easier because when you have hair, your hair acts as a trap and it holds the debris for a little bit before it works its way to the scalp. Now, since you have a shaved head, then it's going straight to your head. All right, so you shampoo one time with a clarifying shampoo. Stay with the pH of your hair and scalp, which is 4.5 to 5.5, which is important because you don't want to dry out your scalp. And I'm going to get to that part in a few minutes. Now, once you do the shampooing, then you're ready to use, just from a clean scalp, you're ready to go over your scalp with the electric razor. That way you're going right to the hair, very close, circular motion. You're not putting a lot of pressure, and you should have a nice clean head. Afterwards, you don't put alcohol on it and all of that. No, 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 no. At that point, you've had a clean scalp because you clarified. Now you want to go back. You can do one more application, rinsing really well. Run the shampoo through. If you had a lot of hair and you maybe some little residue hairs, then you take that shampoo, run it through, rinse really well, towel blot your scalp, and immediately use, because you still have little short hairs that are right in the mouth of that follicle. So immediately use a moisturizer. Now you can use oil, but I would recommend moisturizer, because the moisturizer, and it depends on the moisturizer. Like, I have a product called Moisture Plus Moisturizer. It's both hair friendly. So Moisture Plus Moisturizer is going to hydrate those little stubbles, because you know how you feel your scalp and it's just, the hair is so rough. No, you won't have that problem. Use the Moisture Plus Moisturizer, and that will help you with your hydrating. And then that's it. If you use a small amount, rub it through. And you can do that daily. Now, if you have issues with your scalp, if you scrape your scalp problems, you have options. If it's bleeding and oozing, you need to go to a dermatologist. If it's something that's just kind of tender and you may have some little bumps, trichologist such as myself, we can look at it under a handheld microscope, determine if your scalp requires attention from a dermatologist, and then make a recommendation or tell you how you can treat it naturally. Okay? And tell your friends, look at this again, because this is a big deal. A lot of men and women are shaving their head, just like the Sanaa Lathan. We want that look, but we need to make sure that we have the proper care for our scalp whenever we're doing it. Okay, that's enough on celebrity news. Now, if you have any questions, you can email me. So if you're shaving your head and you have questions, shoot me an email, guys, or you can chat with me. My chat room is open, and we're talking about so many things. We're talking about so many things, but we're going to talk about this group of volunteers. I want to kind of talk about that because, to me, they're celebrities. You know what I'm saying? This group of volunteers who decided they were going to help out with some of the victims. You know, we have so many people that have, you know, we don't want to say victims, because these folks are like troopers. They're like praying and moving forward. And so, but they needed someone to give them a smile and help in any way you can. And I'm just telling you, sometimes you can't do a whole lot, but you can take your skill. And I say kudos to these hairstylists. I mean, they might have gone through the storm, but you don't have to look like it. And these hairstylists made sure that they did not look like it. And who was that? I think it was Essence. Yeah, Essence wrote about this. And some of the evacuees and some of the survivors of the hurricanes, they found themselves in these refugee cities, especially with Hurricane Harvey. They were in their neighboring cities of Houston, and they were just kind of rallying together and to support each other. And so some of them who pretty much lost their peace of mind in the storm. And a lot of the hairstylists, there was a group of hairstylists who spent this past weekend providing free salon services to women and men and even children. They set up a makeshift in these makeshift shelters, and they organized it's like a gallery of salons, create this little network of stylists. And the women, they cleared their schedules. Some of them even closed their salons, wow, for their regular business. And they helped these evacuees. Now, how cool is that? Now, if you tell me that you can't do something to help folks, come on, you can do it. You see what I'm saying? You can do it. You can do some things, because this group felt that it was important to provide such services, not only to relax them, but also for them to have clean hair. Because, I mean, you got to think about it. These folks lost everything. They didn't have water, and they didn't have a lot of things. And this was a very traumatic experience for them. And you may not be able to do a lot of things. If you could just do that, and that's what these group of hairstylists did. I mean, there were a lot of people like Tyler Perry donated $1 million. There are people who donated money. These hairstylists didn't have $1 million, but what they had was skill in their head. Woo, hairstylists. So you are our celebrities too. So you go right in there on our celebrities. So thank you. You guys can go to essence.com if you want to read more about that. How cool is that? I think that's pretty cool. Okay, guys, let's get to our topics. If you're just tuning in for the very first time, I'm trichologist Lisa Akbari, your hair doctor. Next, we've got about 35 minutes. Wow, but lots of topics to cover. 35 minutes. If you want to ask me a question, you're welcome to chat with me, or you can send me an email. My email address is lisa@lisaakbari.com, and that's LISA@LISAAKBARI.com. If you want to hear this show over and over and over again, you're welcome to go to my YouTube page, and go to YouTube, type in Lisa Akbari, and I will come up. I have hundreds of videos. I literally do. And I have organic subscribers. I don't buy subscribers. I've been at this a long time. I have over 7,000 subscribers that I've gathered over the years that I've been on. But this is my outreach. This is my way of giving back. And so I'm on the radio each and every week right here in iHeartRadio. And you can download the free iHeart app, hear me from anywhere in the world, but also with my YouTube page, you can hear me from anywhere in the world. So that's why I always like to broadcast not just from the WDIA studios in iHeartRadio. I also like to broadcast live on the internet, because anyone can hear me. I think that we all should be able to take care of, be able to have these tips on how to take care of our hair. So there I am, and there it is. So thank you so much for tuning in each and every week. So I'm going to talk with some of the facts on healthy hair, and what are some of the myths, and what are some of the facts, how do we get to the truth. We're just going to talk about a lot of that. And I've got a list of things that You know, people email me all the time about, and I'm just going to kind of go through that list and really help with, let's get this out of the way. Let's get back to my list. Okay, so here we are. The best way to eliminate buildup. And you've got all these folks that have these, you know, Essence Magazine recently did a article on this, and I'm always interested in the things that they write about, because you guys read it, essencemagazine.com. So I want to be there too. I want to say, how do I help out with all of this? So here we go. Now, there are a lot of things that claim to help to eliminate buildup, but are we trying to eliminate buildup? So let's first talk about, and let me tell you my take on it as a trichologist. There's two categories of buildup. Oh yeah, there is. There's negative buildup and there's positive buildup. Could there be positive buildup? I know you're asking that question, but hear me out. Negative buildup is buildup that when you put a product on your hair, that product does not easily become, it's not water soluble. Oils and things aren't. Well, we know that oil is not going to break down as easily, but you need things. And without going into a chemistry class, well, A, I wouldn't be able to do it all, but B, yeah, I don't have my chemist here with me, but in B, it's not necessary. What is necessary for you to know is that when you put a product, a shampoo must be clean. That means that shampoo, if that shampoo has a whole lot of conditioners in it, then that shampoo is not going to clean your hair. It's just going to condition your hair. So over a period of time, that product, those conditioners will solidify on your hair and scalp, creating a negative buildup. That means it can't be removed easily. Then you have your products that you condition your hair with. You need conditioners, protein and moisture. We always talk about that. You need protein for strength, moisture for hydration. Well, if you use a protein and moisture and a conditioner that is not the molecular weight, the molecules that make it are not small enough, they will not penetrate the cuticle like they should. And they can't do as much repair work as that cuticle is open and it's around the cortical fibers, because it's cosmetic. It's not like a chemical. It's a conditioner. So it's not going to open the hair like a chemical can, but it's supposed to be able to do repair work, strengthen and hydrate. Okay. Now, if that product, you have the molecules are so thick and dense and large, then it is not going to rinse clean. It'll stick to your hair. So you put the conditioner on and it weighs your hair down. That's why some people say, well, you know, I can't use certain conditioners because it's too heavy. Well, you want to make sure that you have a conditioner that's clean. That means you put it on, you can deep condition under the dryer or use an instant 60 seconds, and then you rinse it and your hair feels like hair. You still have a nice squeaky clean, and it's nice and soft. But not fly away and frizzy. That's important. So you have to make sure you have a good conditioner. And then those of us who use leave-in products, like I use leave-in products, they have natural kinky hair, and I use leave-in products to manage my hair. And this is where people get in trouble with that negative buildup. If you use a product like a wax, Dax, cones, any of those kinds of products, then you're going to have an issue with a negative buildup because they don't rinse clean. Water hits it, it beads off the top, which is great for your hairstyle, but it's horrible when you're trying to clean, and you have to clean, because if you don't clean your hair properly, you're going to have a problem with conditioning, because you can't get the conditioner through all the crap that's left on the hair because it's a negative buildup. Now, next, you want to think about oils, moisturizers, setting tools. Some of the things you should stay away from. Stay away from those. You need to use products that are clean. Moisturizers are important. You need to test your moisturizers and your oils. Put a little bit on the back of your hand. Then you're going to say, after you put a little bit of moisturizer here on one side of your hand, oil on the other side, right together, then you put warm water over it and watch what happens. If it starts to break down, then you've got to clean, moisturize. That's the best way for you to test it. You're not a chemist, neither am I. So it's best way. I found that this is the best way for you to test it. Okay, you're gonna start looking at ingredients. Oh, this says this is, it's important. But what's important is that going to, when we speak about negative buildup, is this going to cause a negative buildup on my hair? And remember, we talk about negative buildups and positive buildups. There is a positive, and I'm going to get to that in just a moment. But right now, we're trying to eliminate the negative buildups. And then I'm going to talk about what, with that, let's move on. All right, so with the negative buildup, we want to talk about other products. What do we style our hair with? There's some folks there out here that may not have natural kinky hair like mine and yours. There's some people out there who are listening to me now may have naturally straight hair, Caucasian straight, Asian straight, or some people out there may be African American women or natural kinky hair who, well, setting lotions, mousse, gel, those things more. Some people are still using them. You're gonna have a problem with that rinsing clean from there. So you want to make sure that your products rinse clean. And you want to use a clarifying shampoo every time you shampoo. Now, here's the deal with clarifiers. Before you email me and say, oh, I don't like clarifiers, they strip. Clarifiers remove what's natural. Stripping removes what's natural and unnatural. So you want a clarifier, and the key is you want the pH of your hair and scalp. Now, that's all I'm going to say about clarifiers today. Now, here's the problem that a lot of people are having. The reason why now we're talking about buildup. The reason we have to talk about it because of co-washing and no poo. Washing and no poo came in, and it was an accident waiting to happen. You have to shampoo your hair, just like you have to bathe your body. You have to clean. You have to clean. Wanted to look and feel alive. And the way to do that is to deep clean and then deep condition. Okay, with your scalp, you're going to eliminate all these environments for pathogens to live, breed, and grow, because they're not going to, they live, breed, and grow in that negative buildup that you're leaving on your scalp because you're not cleaning your scalp. And the reason, I know why you're doing it, because you want your hair, keep your hair from being dry. But no, there are ways to keep your hair from being dry. My hair is not dry. You can come up to me anytime you see me and touch my hair, and it will not be dry. And I shampoo with a clarifier. And sometimes I can shampoo every day. I shampoo every couple of days, or I may shampoo every, 3 days. I may shampoo once a week. It depends. I look at when somebody asks me, when do you shampoo? I said, when my scalp is dirty. When is my scalp dirty? Depending on my activity. So pay attention to that. But after 7 days, you got to feel, I don't care who messes up and don't shampoo the hair, then you do have a filthy scalp after 7 days. Just FYI. Okay, now what are the positive buildups? Positive buildups we have to have. When you put on your shampoo and you put on your conditioners, you rinse those clean. Then you're going to start to build up your hair. The way you build up your hair, by putting on products that will do one or two things. They're going to either dissipate over a period of time, or they're going to rinse clean when you shampoo and when you start rinsing your hair. That's a positive buildup, because what I do is I may put on, say, hair vitamins, my leave-in conditioner called hair vitamins. Wonderful, love it, love it. Then I'll put a moisturizer on, so I'm building it up. I'm building up my hair, and then I'm ready to let it dry. So some people will put on my hair vitamins, moisturizer, my Moisture Plus moisturizer, or my Naturally Texture, and then the oil sheen and jar to seal. Products are there, and sometimes with our natural hair, it's required to give us the certain look we want, because you have these the health factor, I call it the care factor, shampooing and conditioning. Then you have the support factor, your moisturizers, your oils, things like that. But then you have your style factor. And sometimes in your style factor, you need moistures, oils, setting lotions, things like that. So you've got to make sure those products are clean. So you're doing a build-up with those. But when it's time to, after 2 or 3 days, they need to start dissipating. That's why you have to put moisturizers on daily, because you lose a percentage of those. If you're not losing any percentage of those on a daily basis, then you're going to create a negative buildup at some point. Voila. If you didn't get all of that, rewind the tape, go to my YouTube page, and you can play it in slow motion. But because we have a show, I'm going to move on to our next topic. But my chat room is open. If you're just tuning in for the very first time, I'm trichologist Lisa Akbari, your hair doctor, and I'm here today talking to you about hair. And I told you I was really excited about the show today. And I'm excited about the show because I really want to educate you on some things. And I want to give you my perspective. I want you to know how I feel. And we're talking about hair myths. We're talking about all of these things as it relates to our hair and what's true, what's not true. Now, the next one I want to talk about treatments. Wow. You know what? Hot oil treatments is, hey, that's a big deal. Okay, I'm just going to say it right now because people have talked about hot oil treatments for years. Hot oil treatments, I mean, let's face it. I'm just going to put it out there. A lot of black folk, we just lived with them. We loved them. A lot of white folk, we love them. So here's the deal with hot oil treatments. Now, what's the pros and cons with the hot oil treatment? First, when you put on oil on your hair, if it's an oil and if it's like a light oil, if you put oil on your hair, oil seals in hydration. So just that fact is wonderful, just to know that oils seal in hydration. But when you think about oils as a treatment for the hair, because anything you put on your hair is a form of treating the hair. So when you think about it, you know, you have to ask yourself the same thing I was talking about earlier. Is this going to be clean? And really, what is it supposed to do? Because if you think about oils, you're thinking about an oil that has got to go on the cuticle. It's got to lay there. It's got to seal in hydration. And there has to be in that oil and grease. Okay? Now, let's talk grease. Is very dense. People talk about petroleum, mineral oil, and how horrible it is, but especially with, if you think about the petroleum and mineral, and how do we get so confused about that? Well, what happens is the processing, how it's processed. So you've got Vaseline, petroleum, jelly, that kind of thing, just dense, thick, everything. It's just what we use growing up on our legs to oil, you know, to not oil, but to grease down our legs to keep us from being quote unquote ashy. But here's the deal, guys. If you're going to put it on your hair or your scalp, you are going to have a problem with a negative buildup. So you do not want to use it. So that would not, petroleum, Vaseline, those would not be used as a hot oil treatment. In the mineral oil, even though it's made from some of the same things, it's the processing. So if you can get that to be processed where the molecules are small and they can become hair friendly based on how they're processed, keep that in mind. And I know I'm going to get some negative email. They're going to say, oh, no, now I'm either going to be confused or I'm going to be like, I don't know what to believe. Well, here's the deal. Keep in mind, if you are doing these so-called hot oil treatments, first you have to look at, why am I doing them? So a lot of people say, I use oils to hydrate my hair. Well, oils don't hydrate. Oils can seal in hydration. So if you have dry, damaged hair and you put oil on it, it's going to be right there, here. Why am I putting the oil on? What are the benefits of, and what do they really do, and do they last, and how, you're all of that and more. First, if you put a hot oil treatment on, a hot oil treatment, and what is all this? You take a oil, you warm it up, you shampoo, condition your hair, rinse the conditioner off, then you put the oils all over your hair, you sit under the dryer, and then you, for appropriate amount of time that a hot oil treatment tell you, and then you rinse it out, and then you style your hair. So now what do you have? You have hair that has had oil and water on it. So if it's oil and water on it, when your hair dries, that oil that you just rinsed, you didn't shampoo it out, you rinsed it out, is going to stick, and it's going to lock in whatever moisture is there, and it's going to hydrate. Your hair is going to feel hydrated. So that's the benefit. Now, what's the negative? The negative is, if you are not careful, that oil will begin to solidify on your hair, and that oil will cause it will prevent other products from going in, because oil is generally the last thing that you will put on your hair. So if you want, that's why hot oil treatments are not really appropriate, because you put them on and then you're trying to put other products on top of that. So then you have this mix up and confusion. Now, let me tell you, there's some folks out there who will argue this point, that I use them and I love them. My hair looks good. That's what they're going to say. And I get it. But over a period of time, it will cause a negative buildup. We just talked about that. Not initially, but eventually it will cause it. So the benefit of a hot oil treatment is it gives you more shine. It seals in your moisturizers. But if you're not careful, it will cause a negative buildup. Your cuticle layer is the layer that we're trying to get to. It's our style layer. We're trying to get it to stay nice and compact over the cortical fibers, so that we have a nice shine and our hair looks good, and it feels good, and all of those and more. But you got to be careful, and that's important. So when you get on these websites and get these videos, you got these folks in their white jackets. I'm not criticizing. I wear a white lab coat every day, and they've got their little pointers, and they're talking about the hair strand. Look at their background. Look at what they know. Look at some things, because hot oil treatments they don't condition the hair, and they do not hydrate the hair. And that's one of the most powerful tools that oils can do. They can seal, and that's a lovely thing, because we need to seal in hydration, especially when we are out in these dry climates, whether it's really, really cold or just really, really dry, like it's a Detroit cold or a Arizona desert dry. You need to seal in hydration, because the environment will just suck up all the moisture in your hair. It's almost like sitting in a sauna if you're in some of these places, Arizona and some of these places, and these desert, Las Vegas, these places. But sometimes you're just in a really cold environment, and it dries. It's kind of like your skin. You'll notice if your skin is drying out, your hair is probably drying out as well. And then it causes a problem with your porosity and all of these other things. So keep in mind, guys, just be careful. Okay. All right. So let's go to our next one. If you're just tuning in for the very first time, I'm trichologist Lisa Akbari, and I'm here each and every week right here in the WDI studios and iHeartRadio. And I'm here for you. I'm here. My chat room is open. Let me give you my telephone number to my institute, because you can call. We're open Tuesday through Saturday, and you can call anytime after usually 8:30. You can get us, and the number is 901-380-4445, 901-380-4445. And you can email me if you'd like to email me a question. You can email me, Lisa Akbari.com, and that's LISA at LISAAKBARI.com. Yay. And also you guys can go to my website. Pretty cool place to rest, I'm telling you. My web designer is fabulous, and she really helps me a lot with staying current, getting all the current things here. And I have folks that help me in my cyber world, does my research. Kristen, I love her. Kristen, she's usually listening to every show. She's always got some feedback, and she's pulling up a lot of things that that you guys are talking about. And that's how I get a lot of my information on what I need to talk about, because it's a lot that I say to you, but there's some things that you want to know, and so we want to get into that, which brings me to this next one: soothing tools to use for sewing. So now, how many of you out there have had weave or some kind of sew-in or braids and had an itchy scalp? I see you patting your head, taking pencils and pens and objects and sticking under and scratching. Ladies, and even guys these days, yeah, no more of that. So we're not going to do that. We're not going to, Essence did an article, Essence, like, they're on it when it comes to hair. I mean, they're really talking about the stuff as it relates to hair. There's some other bloggers that are doing some things, but Essence talked about this as well. And they talked about ways to help your scalp when you have weave. It's like, I mean, it's got a cool picture where this lady looks like she's got, I think it's Beyonce, where she talks about her hair. It says, well, anyway, okay, let's see what she says. Beyonce embodies this whole little thing with dancing, and she pats her weaves. It's funny. It talked about the time in 2006. Anyone who's let's read this. But anyone who's ever worn a weave knows that the dance move isn't as fun as it seems. In short, attempting to smooth or soothe your itchy scalp without disturbing your cornrows or without letting people know you're still dancing and you're patting your hair. So she's patting her head while she's dancing. That's funny. Okay, I don't know if all that's true, but that's what Essence is writing about. I'm sure some truth must be in it because they have to be careful. Okay, there's some things that they are suggesting, and I'm going to give you my pros and cons on those things. Patting your head is one of the things they're showing, and I just say patting your head is just going to give you a headache eventually. But so I wouldn't pat the head. That's not the answer. Okay, the next one is these 3-pronged curved tools, and they're actually designed to safely soothe the itchy scalp under weaves and extensions. They're these little plastic tools, and they want you to stick them in there. And then, like, as an added bonus, the tool can also use to shampoo your hair and free your scalp of dandruff and product buildup. No way. Do not use any tools to scratch your scalp. That's not your answer either. So I'm going to tell you right away, I give it a thumbs down. You have an epidermis. Anytime your epidermis is rubbed with any object, then over a period of time, besides the when you're shampooing, we're going to talk about that as well. If you got an object that's going in there, it's eventually going to rub and scratch your scalp. It's going to tear the cornea. It creates these microscopic tears. Now, let me tell you, scratching is a form of massage. So it feels good initially. Okay? It does give, what else is it doing? It's also damaging the tissue. So now you have a scalp itch that's going away. Have you ever scratched and you felt, okay, oh, that feels so good. It feels so good. And then you go, ow. What happened? You hit that basal area where that pain receptor began to respond, and it says, this is not good. Pain is just a warning. It's just your body saying, no, you've gone too far. And that's what happens over a period of time. Because sometimes it's feeling good, and you're scratching, and you're like, ooh, that feels so good. But then you go, ouch. And that's because you are creating microscopic tears, wearing away your cornea layer, your scalp is beginning to become worn and their teeth are close together. They have little pointed teeth. It's like a little hair pick. Thumbs down. And the reason I say thumbs down is because this is the one that's going for the jugular. This one is going straight into your scalp, scratching past the epidermis. And that's why some people, when they scratch with tools that have pointed objects or any fingernails, they end up with really tender, sore scalp, because now you've got a irritation there, and it is a major, major, major problem with your breaking the skin, causing skin, because when you break your skin, your epidermis is there for a reason. God gave us an epidermis so that it can protect. It's like the sentinel. It's like the guard that stays right on top so we can protect our epidermis. You know what's in your dermis? Because you cause scalp infection, scalp disease, all kinds of setup staph. I mean, I know I'm being really over the top with it, but this is what I see in my institute when I view scalp under the microscope. All of these folks who are losing hair because of these scalp problems, okay? And because they're not taking care of their scalp and they're scratching. Now, this one I got to get to. This next one, they said, well, there's a scalp brush. Now, how many of you go into the salon and you have your scalp brushed when you're shampooing? And they're thinking, wow, this scalp brush is the answer to my prayers. Wow, it fits on the hand or my stylist's hand, and they just go in and they scratch up, and they call it lifting the dandruff. Well, what you're lifting, yeah, you might, the danger to scratching and using shampoo brushes and picks and all this stuff to lift your dandruff, the danger to that is you not only lift the buildup and lift all of, but you're lifting skin. Now, you may say, well, I'm lifting dandruff that shouldn't be there. Well, all of it's connected. Your epidermis and your dermis is packed together. So if you're lifting up dandruff, you think, or dandruff by definition is what? Excessive peeling of the scalp. Well, you want that excessive peeling off, but the way to do it is not to scratch it up, because when you're scratching it up, you're going to remove the buildup, you're going to remove dead skin cells that should be shedding, and you're going to remove skin that shouldn't be shedding. Problematic. It's very problematic. I don't recommend them. They've got all kinds of things. They got one that you can put on your keychain. Don't fall for it, ladies and men. Don't do it. It's not good. I'm telling you, if you need anything, I promise you, the manufacturers will make it. They make it. The rat tail combs, they said, well, they already been using rat tail combs and all these things in their fingernails. Let's make something called the weave scratcher. Let's make something called the shampoo brush. Let's make something called the scalp scratcher. How do we get under weave? Let's curve it. Let's make it in all colors. Don't fall for it, ladies and men. Don't fall for it, because it is going to eventually cause problems. Now, I'm a trichologist, and I see this every single day. Okay, they've even got things that they say, well, okay, let's don't use any tools on there. Let's use something that's going to soothe. We've got this serum, and this serum has ingredients in it like peppermint, jojoba, witch hazel, aloe vera, lavender, honey. All of this alleviates. Well, okay, here's the deal with this. And it's a big, dangerous Band-Aid. This is probably problematic. It's a slower death, I'll say, to your scalp, because you can put things on the top. Don't get me wrong. You can put things on the top of your scalp, but what are those things going to do to the top of your scalp. It's going to ease the symptoms. Is get to the root cause. Why is my scalp itching? Is it itching just because I'm wearing weave? Well, if that's the case, you shouldn't wear weave, because you shouldn't use anything that's going to cause you that kind of discomfort. Well, it's not itching because you wear weave. Here's the bombshell that you guys got to hear me. I'm going to drop on you. You must clean your scalp. It's really simple. It's really simple and to the point. Now, no matter how you feel about this situation, I'm going to tell you guys, you must clean your scalp. You must clean your scalp, and you have to do this because if you do not clean your scalp, what you're going to have is a scalp that is going to cause problems with itching, tenderness, flaking. It creates an environment for pathogens to live, breed, and grow. And it really is not comfortable. Comfortable. Sorry, guys. It's not comfortable. And if you do that, you're going to eventually be in the dermatologist's office. The other thing you're going to eventually do is you're going to eventually have problems with your hair follicle malfunctioning. Because if you break that epidermis skin and you break into the dermis, you're going to have a situation where your scalp is going to eventually have set up some type of scalp infection or some problems that can eventually cause what I call major problems. Let's see if I can get me back up here so I can turn this around. Major problems with hair loss. And that's the big danger. You do not want to lose your hair. You want to make sure that you keep an environment where your hair follicle can function. Now we're speaking of the mouth now. Internally, hair will grow. You'll have no problems as long as you stay away from that dermis. If you damage the epidermis to the point where you get inside the dermis, you know how you've got relaxers or permanent waves or hair color, or you scratch and your scalp bleeds and ooze, then you're in the dermis because there are no blood vessels in the epidermis. So when you get into that area where you're oozing, bleeding, tender, you're getting into that dermis. Now, as I said earlier, there's precious cargo called hair follicle. So that hair follicle will malfunction, inflammation will set up, irritations, you'll get scalp disease, all these kinds of things can happen. So that's why it's crucial to protect and preserve your scalp. What you need to do is create a clean, acidic, stimulated, hydrated environment. On my website, website, I have a weave program. It teaches you how to clean your weave without disturbing your style, how to clean between the parts, and what to use. We have some scalp treatments so that you don't pull, you have that whole traction problem, all of that. Weave is not a bad thing. It's a good thing that's getting a bad rap, and it's a good thing that's going bad. Braids, none of these are great style options, as long as you don't do quick weave. And that'll be a whole nother show. And you can email and ask me why, but quick weave is bad. But other than that, sew-ins, braids, all of these locks, any of this added here is fine. But you have to have a clean, acidic, stimulated, hydrated environment around your scalp so that your epidermis stays healthy. Your hair has to be balanced with protein and moisture to protect and preserve it so it doesn't dry rot. And I don't care if you have locks, and it can still. So your hair has to be protected. And under these protective styles, these sew-ins, you must do things the correct way. I love you guys. I'm through preaching. Yay! I'm trichologist Lisa Akbari, your hair doctor. Thank you so much for tuning in today. We had a great show. If you want to tune in again, each and every week, I'm right here. I'm going to give you my number. You can call my institute at 901-380-4445, or let me repeat that, 901-380-4445, or you can visit me on my website, lisaakbari.com. That's LISAAKBARI.com. Or you can email me, and I love emails, guys. I love them. It's Lisa@LisaAkbari.com, and that's LISA@LISAAKBARI.com. I'm Trichologist Lisa Akbari, your hair doctor. I love you guys. To God be the glory in Jesus. Pray for all the folks that were, I want to call them victims, or in the hurricanes, and we just, God is so awesome for protecting them. We had a lot of tragedies, but we had a lot of good stuff, and a lot of people showing their heart and being good to these folks. Love you guys. See you next week right here on Ask the Hair Doctor. Have a wonderful, blessed morning, evening, or afternoon. Okay, guys, I love you guys. If you missed it and you tuned in and you missed the show, you can YouTube and you can hear the whole show. Also, you can call my institute if you want to schedule an appointment to see me for a hair and scalp analysis. You can dial 901-380-4445, or if you want cyber consultation, if you're in another part of the world and you just can't get to me, then you can go to my website and you can get your cyber consultation. Love you guys. Have a wonderful, blessed morning, evening, or afternoon. See you next week. Yay!